All right, Jonathan, Sesi, when does it make sense to buy and when does it make sense to wait? Talk to me about what the consumer's thought process should be when they're choosing to do that.
Yeah, so I think, every consumer has a case by case situation. And that's
Yeah.
one of the things that we really like to focus on here at the Delia Group is
Right.
taking each person as a case by case basis, laying
Yeah.
out a strategy for each. One of the things that would encourage us to encourage our clients of waiting, if they plan to buy a home and once they close on that home, if they're going to be what we call house poor,
Yeah.
little to no reserves, we would encourage waiting or looking into a less expensive home, because the last thing we want for our clients to do is close on a home and then wonder how they're going to pay their bills after.
Yeah. So you could instead of waiting, you could buy something a little bit cheaper, right?
Yes.
Have a little bit of money in your bank. And that's certainly an option for people. If you're doing that move up and you're going to be super broke, maybe waiting a little bit to have a little bit more of a nest egg, a little bit more of a cushion could make some sense. What else?
In terms of why it makes sense to buy now is, we always talk about securing your cost of living now, because we're not entirely sure. We don't have that crystal ball to predict what's going on in the future.
Yeah.
So if you feel like you're ready to buy, start strategizing the areas, what type of home you want to buy, get that going. You can always refinance later if that's needed. We don't know where interest rates are going to go. We can predict, but again, we don't have that crystal ball.
Right. So there's many variables in purchasing a home, right? Like just on a transactional basis, right? One is purchase price, one is interest rates, then you have taxes and you have insurance, right? So you have these 4 different variables that exist. Taxes, we know, in the state of Michigan can only go up so much each year.
Absolutely.
Right? Insurance is a variable. It can jump 15, 20%, something crazy. That's been happening recently, but that's not something that historically is like these big double-digit swings, right?
Yeah.
So you can somewhat anticipate as an average what insurance is going to do. Your purchase price, once you've bought it, that's a locked variable, right? Your purchase price is no longer going to change. So then that leaves interest rate being like the one thing that can vary. And that's actually, unless you get an adjustable rate, that's actually locked on the purchase, right? And the only thing you're going to do with an interest rate, and those 4 factors are what is called principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, right?
Yes.
PITI payment, right? And so the interest rate portion, if we're going to say, let's just throw out 7 as a number right now. We're at 7% right now, and historical average is 6. People have seen as low as I have 2.625 on my house. Feeling really good about that number. We're probably not going to, unless we have another global pandemic, that number's not going back, right?
Yeah.
So when that rate does come down, because there will be at some point over a 30-year amortization in which interest rates will be below 7. I don't want to tell you it's going to be tomorrow. I don't want to tell you it's going to be next year, but I think it's probably sooner than later that rate comes down. Now you're able to bring that payment down. But let's just say you're renting. Now what control do you have? Landlord wakes up, says, oh, I'm going to sell. What choice do you have in that?
You don't have any choice. You got to start finding a house and finding one fast.
Finding a house, finding one fast. You could, literally end up potentially homeless, right?
Absolutely.
You couldn't find something fast enough. You're in a competitive market situation where you want to live. Like all of these things, your whole life can be thrown into chaos, right? You haven't locked down that variable as to where to live. And then the second piece is, what if they just say, well, Jonathan, guess what? Rent's double.
That can be the case too. That's another reason why we like to say it makes sense to buy now. If you've been renting for a long time or even a short period of time, you're essentially paying somebody else's mortgage.
Yeah.
Put a strategy together to see if your finances will qualify you for a mortgage so that you can start investing your money into your own home as opposed to a landlord's property.
If you're a renter, I'd almost argue close on the house and be house poor. Pick up a side gig where you can make a little bit of margin, spend 10, 15 hours a week, and go make an extra $1,000 or something, or $2,000, just to get that extra buffer in order to lock down that major variable in your life, which is where you're going to live and how much is it going to cost me.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Okay. What other scenarios is there worth considering?
Another scenario is, you're living in your home right now. Maybe it's too small for you and your family.
Yeah.
You need an extra bedroom. You need some square footage added on. You can look at a bigger home, strategize with that as well to see what fits the size of your family and what will make you feel comfortable and make that house a home.
Yeah, the reason you'd want to do that today versus doing it tomorrow is we know on a historical graph that homes appreciate on average 4% per year.
Yeah.
So let's say you're sitting in a $500,000 house today and you've got a $1 million house that you're looking at. If I'm appreciating at 4%, that's going to take my house next year to 520, and it's going to take my $1 million house that I want to buy to $1,040,000, right? That's 4%. So I've essentially, on that delta between those two properties, I've essentially lost $20,000 in purchase price because I chose to wait. Does that make sense? So that one variable, which is purchase price, is increasing and making it more expensive than what I'm gaining back on my house by waiting, right? Absolutely. So if you want to move up, right now is the time to do it if you have the ability to do it, right? Anything else that we missed?
No, I think that covers it. That pretty much, puts together, helps us strategize with our clients. That's one of the biggest things is putting the plan together. Sometimes it takes 3 months, sometimes it takes 6 months. So that in and of itself could cost you a little bit of buying power as well.
Yeah, and if you're in a competitive situation, sometimes it takes a while to find a house. So go ahead and reach out today. If you want more real estate content, subscribe and like this video. We'd love to talk to you more and match you up with a great agent like Johnathon. Thanks.
Thank you.